and welcome back to another of my YouTube videos. If you're new here, you're really welcome. My name's Laura, and this video is based all about the mistakes that I made whenever I was preparing and revising for the UCAT. I hope by sharing some of these with you, you'll be able to avoid making any of the mistakes that I did. Some of the things that I'll mention aren't necessarily mistakes, more things that I wished I could have improved on earlier to make things a lot easier, and some of them are also a bit of personal preference. So don't worry if you are doing some of the things I mention. If it is working for you, keep doing it. But for me personally, changing the things that I'll mention in this video really improved not only time and scores, but also my confidence so that I could sit the UCAT and pull out good scores. So the first thing I would have changed about how I prepared for the UCAT would have been to find out about sitting the UCAT and what it involved much earlier on. I didn't find out about the UCAT or really go researching about it until only a few weeks before I decided to sit it, which wasn't really ideal and did leave me quite short of time with preparation. Don't panic though, if you are in the same position that I was in, you will be able to get good scores and get offers from your universities. It'll just take a little bit more preparation and determination, as well as making use of resources that I have available on the rest of my YouTube channel. So do check them out if you are struggling to know where to start and how to improve the scores you've already got. At the time, whenever I was booking my UCAT, I really didn't have any idea of what the UCAT actually involved. So my advice would be to make sure you're aware of what the UCAT entails and also be smart about when you decide to book it. If you have only a few weeks to book, then do push it back as far as possible to give you enough time to prepare and revise without feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So the second thing I would have changed would have been that I decided to start preparations with a book that I'd been lent from a friend, which was fine at the start because it just gave me a bit of an idea of what each section was about and how it was scored, but it really didn't give me a proper idea of what the UCAT was, as it's all based online, so the tests and question styles are totally different from preparing with a book. So my advice would be avoid purchasing or buying any books and do invest your time and, if you wish, money into online resources. They are much more beneficial to you because they mimic the real style and conditions that you will be sitting when you do the UCAT itself. So the third thing that I wished I had known earlier on whenever I was preparing was the fact that timings are important, but they aren't important at the very start. Whenever I began my preparation, I focused very heavily on the timings allocated to each question. This meant that it diverted a lot of my attention from learning the questions and styles and how to answer them effectively, and instead meant that I focused on the seconds counting down on the stopwatch. This didn't really help and added a lot of pressure when I actually was really needing to just focus on how to prepare and use the resources effectively, as well as understanding how to answer the questions and get used to things like the UCAT calculator and keyboard shortcuts. So don't worry about timing yourself when you're beginning your prep for UCAT. Instead, get used to each question, what the sections of the UCAT involve, and what new skills you will need to learn to help you answer the questions effectively. So the fourth thing that I would change about how I prepared for the UCAT would be that instead of using the internet a lot and spending a lot of time scrolling different web pages and browsing for how to do questions, is to actually spend more time doing the questions and learning from your own mistakes. I was trying to look for clever techniques and ways to get around actually just doing the questions myself, which was helpful to a point, but didn't really allow me to learn the skills and techniques that I was eventually just going to have to learn anyway. So my advice is to use Google and YouTube and all of the resources available to you, but do make sure that you focus on learning the things yourself. It will be very valuable and will speed up the process of how you prepare and get better scores in each section. So the fifth thing that I would change about how I prepared for the UCAT would have been to ask more questions from people that had done the UCAT in the last couple of years. Other students have so much information and advice that they would be happy to share with you, and it's really important that you do not feel embarrassed to reach out to them and ask them for help. The whole reason I decided to set up this YouTube channel was to give you guys a bit of advice and information that I wish I had had right back at the start whenever I started preparing. The UCAT is tough and each section requires new skills to be learnt, and it is not easy to find information that's really relatable and suited to you online. By making use of your friends and other people that have sat the UCAT, you'll be able to pick up little pieces of information that can be really basic, but really, really important and fundamental to you being able to do really well in each section of the UCAT. So make sure to make use of anyone that you know that's done the UCAT, and if you're not aware of anyone, do get in touch or leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to direct you further or give you any more advice. I've also recently set up a community on Reddit to make sure that everyone can ask their questions and realize that other people have similar things that they're struggling with or other pieces of advice that they're wishing to give other students. So check out the links down below and click the link for the UCAT UK group and join the community to ask any of your questions and get answers to them. So the sixth thing that I would have changed would have been that I didn't make use of the amazing resources available on YouTube. I was very reluctant to spend time doing things that I classed as wasting time whenever I thought that I should be revising or preparing for the UCAT in a different way. But actually watching YouTube videos and realizing that they have a lot more information than a website was really, really a game changer for me. And the sooner I had learned about that would have been better, because it meant that I was able to find out things that I just couldn't find anywhere else. So definitely do check YouTube, check out other videos that I have, and also check out other sites on YouTube for more information depending on what stage you are at and how you wish to sit the UCAT and what universities you wish to go to. There is so much information out there, and as long as you know what you're looking for, you'll be able to find a lot of great answers. So the seventh thing that I should have changed earlier on would be to avoid using the mouse. I used the mouse and dragged it around the screen the entire way through the UCAT. I was so underconfident to use the keyboard shortcuts because I hadn't learnt them in time. This really meant that I was shaking, I couldn't really focus, and it also wasted a lot of time dragging the mouse from different areas. So the eighth thing that I would have done differently would have been learn the keyboard shortcuts earlier. It would have helped save a lot of time dragging the mouse around the screen, and also would have given me a lot more confidence to move back and forth between questions, get the calculator up, and also be able to flag things really quickly. If you do want help on any of the keyboard shortcuts, check out the other videos that I have all about the keyboard shortcuts and which ones are actually important to know for the UCAT and which ones you kind of don't really actually use. Keyboard shortcuts are really a game changer with cutting down timings. Every second is so valuable, and it will also mean that you can get the calculator up and use the calculator from the keypad on your keyboard. So do check out how to use a keyboard effectively and all the keyboard shortcuts for the calculator as well. The videos will be linked in the description down below, so check them out if you are looking for more advice about this. So the ninth thing that I would have done differently and would have changed would have been on the day of the UCAT when I went to the centre and sat down at the computer and didn't put the headphones on. This was a real mistake as there was a lot of background noise from lots of different things, from people tapping pens, chairs moving, even the lady at the door checking people in, chatting away, and it was really, really distracting. It meant that I really couldn't focus effectively on the sections and just keep my head in the zone. So do wear the headphones and get used to wearing them before you go in to sit the UCAT so that you feel comfortable and that they will be of a benefit to you rather than be in your way or distract you. So my advice would definitely be wear the headphones to block out any noise or distraction. So the 10th thing that I would change would be the fact that I felt so underconfident whenever I was sitting the UCAT. This is a really big mistake, and it is not something that you should be worrying about. There are thousands of students sitting the UCAT every year, and there will be plenty sitting it at the exact same time as you. Yes, you will be nervous because you want to do your best, but make sure that you do not let your nerves or worry get the better of you. There's no denying the UCAT is scary, it is new, and there's a lot to learn, but as long as you can keep focused and do a little bit here and there every couple of days, you will be on track for good scores. Check out the rest of my videos to give you a better understanding of how to do well in each section, and also to prepare you for what the sections feel like when you actually sit them. So I hope by sharing those mistakes, you'll be able to pick up on areas that you might want to improve on yourself and not fall into any of the bad habits or things that I did wrong whenever I was preparing. I managed to sit the UCAT and do just fine, so if you are doing some of the things that I mentioned, don't panic and worry. If it's working for you, keep going. But if there are things that I've mentioned that you realize could actually be beneficial to you, do think about changing the way you're revising and preparing early on so that you can get the most out of it and get great scores in your UCAT. Do check out my Reddit group and community, and also my Instagram page, which I'll have all linked in the description down below. And if you would like any other advice, tips, or help, do check out the rest of my YouTube channel and make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with all the new content and videos that I'll be posting to help you on your application to a UK medical school. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!